Hey everyone. This one's going to be a little bit longer than normal, so I get it. People aren't going to watch the whole thing, but if you would please watch the end because I got some things I want to ask of the audience. So today it's a little bit something different. This is a project that I've been kind of thinking about wanting to do, uh, waiting for some pieces to come together to officially launch it. And what that is one of my favorite GI Joe vehicles from the Real American Hero line was this vehicle right here. It's the Skyhawk. I mean, this thing featured prominently in the cartoon, especially the first season. It's in the a lot of in the opening. This used to be one that every Joe would fly to before they started using the Sky Strikers in the Conquest. Um, Love it. It's in reality it's a ridiculous vehicle, but it really fit that aesthetic in the beginning of real military vehicles or futuristic military is just around the corner type deal. And so what I've done is I never had one as a kid. I knew a lot of people that had them, and it was just always one of my favorite things. Is you put a single figure in it and it's airborne. It's a perfect example of the Hasbro philosophy at that time that that a kid could walk into a store with any amount of money and walk out with something that was Joe related and scaled. That 1/18 scale was perfect for that. So if you couldn't afford a Sky Striker or the Dragonfly helicopters as a kid, chances are you could afford the $4 for a Skyhawk, and you had an air assault capability right there. So what had happened is I never had one as a kid. I had acquired one as a young adult, but there was as a lot of the Skyhawks at the time they had some issues. The canopy hinge was broken on it. The engine, and this one is near perfect. So for the engine has the engines sometimes won't stay. They get worn out and won't stay like that. Then over the years through moves and stuff, I kind of lost it. And so then a couple years ago, I was in a store and I found this. The Sky Patrol version of it. Pristine, is missing a missile, and it had no decals with it. And actually, decals had never been applied to it. So I got held onto it, and I decided what I wanted to do because I had during the modern era 25th era, I had gotten one of these, the Ghosthawk, which I loved. Oh man, this is great. So what I wanted to do was kind of to see if I could get a hold of an example of every variant of the Skyhawk that Hasbro has made to the modern era. And so the reason I want to do this is I want to do a couple things. Is I wanted to kind of preserve them. When you have a collection of something, I kind of wanted to theme it. So I was going to theme it around this idea that these were displays in kind of like an aerospace museum. That these were just museum quality pieces. So I had the Sky Patrol Skyhawk and the Ghosthawk. So the Skyhawk I showed you the original version of Skyhawk I got the other day. I finally found a good near pristine. The only thing wrong with it is that engine off of Macari for a very good price because Skyhawks are getting very pricey. And most of the time you can find one in decent shape, then you have to go find parts to replace what's broken or missing on it. So I said now is time to officially do something I've always wanted to do, and that is launch what I call the Skyhawk Project. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make an unofficial and fictional guide to the GI Joe Skyhawk and its variants. This vehicle has been remade over the years. They got a lot of use out of the mold. And so what I want to do, this is the beginning part of it. It's kind of a two-part effort. One is a documentation of what would be the fictional history of the creation of the VTOL, how this vehicle came to be in the GI Joe universe, why as it moved through different variations, what those variations meant, One of the first things I did is I did some research, and I found where this would fit in what they call the tri-service designation. Back in the I think it was the 60s, late 60s. The Defense Department got together and unified the aircraft designation system across all of the services. And then, gave each specific rating. That's why you have, an F-15 and an F-16 and an F-18, so forth, F-22, F-35, so forth and so forth. And what this meant. So I did some research. I found out where in that designation system that this would fit. And then I went and just looked at different variants. So over the years, there's been 5 variants of this vehicle, and I'm not going to go into detail today. I'm just going to kind of show you where I'm at on this. And so what I did is I looked at the very first one, gave the designation, looked at the specifications. One of the things I'm looking for is I'm not looking for when they use different color plastic on something. That just was not enough to say this is a different variation, where it would be a different model number in the system. I guess when the original Skyhawk came out, they did a mail away version, and some of those mail away versions had a different shade of green in the plastic. So, so that would not be, although that would be a paint variant in the collector community. In the real world, that would not be enough. Just to change it would not be enough to designate it as a different model of that vehicle. And so I did stuff like I looked at the what they changed on if they made any significant changes to the mold of the Skyhawk. I looked at the specifications that it came with it in the the blueprints. That was one of the other great ideas of GI Joe, is those blueprints. It really immersed you in the vehicle. And so as they printed these things along, they did make some changes to the specifications on there. So if there was so I was looking for significant changes in the specifications. Some of the specifications I kind of cleaned up a little bit and made some slight tweaks and changes to it to make it more modern. And then just kind of went through every model year that came out with it. It's just, I thought this would just be something very fun to do, to give a fictional background to these vehicles and do it in a documented form to tell a story, because I like telling stories. Then on the flip side of things, what I wanted to do is I wanted to collect each of the physical copies of the Skyhawk, and instead of building a dioramas, I wanted to just take a little, make a little stand for it as if it was in a museum. When you go to a museum, especially I was inspired by in Kissimmee, Florida, there's a working restoration museum that restores old military aircraft and helicopters. I like those. If we go to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, or something like the Intrepid in New York, or some other places where they have these museums, I kind of wanted something like that. So that's the other part of it, is doing the fictional guide to it, but then also taking the actual toy and doing it in kind of, like I said, it's going to have a little stand that it sits on. It's going, maybe I'm going to try to do like a little roped off section and do stuff like the what is it called? Like little placards with the designation on it, and maybe see if I can shrink down the blueprints to something that looks like. So if you're in a 1/18 scale museum in the wing dedicated to the Skyhawk, that's what I'm shooting for here. So right now I'm in the middle. Where I'm in is I'm kind of in the collecting the example phases. Right now I have the first Skyhawk and the Sky Patrol Skyhawk, and I'm reaching out. I'm getting ready to order some Toy Hacks reproduction stickers, decals to kind of clean up some of those decals with that. So as part of the organization, I know there are 3 of them that I'm going to have problems trying to find a physical copy of, and what that is one is the convention exclusive one they did for the Steel Brigade, I think in 2005. It had the marbleized plastic on it. Right now, I'm seeing these go for well over $100 online through eBay and Mercari and stuff like that, if I can find them. So that's going to be a hard one to find with that one. Then the next one will be the Ghosthawk, what they call the Ghosthawk, but and I'll explain why this is actually more of a Skyhawk than the Ghosthawk that came out later. That was the one that came out in the oh my gosh, the one pack had a lift ticket, is when they were redoing all the vehicles, the post 25th anniversary line. And then the last one is going to be the second Steel Brigade Ghosthawk they did for I think the last convention that they had, that was based off of the Ghosthawk mold. That they did with some slight changes and variations to it. Those I don't think I've even seen one of those online anywhere for sale, or it's been a while. So I know those three are probably those pricey ones. I see those are well over $100 if I can find them. I'm not willing to pay $100 for it. It's just one of those things. So I'm hoping to kind of source one if somebody has an extra in a collection and they want to make a deal with me, then you can reach out. We'll talk about it. But I want to get that done so I can get the physical aspects of the museum. Now, there are some variations that I just know I'm never going to find for it. And I want to have to figure out some way I want to codify them in the document. But in the museum, they may just wind up being some pictures of those. That's just a couple things. One is it's the in the top corner over here is the Dreadnought Skyhawk. This was a Sears exclusive 2-pack Dreadnought Air Assault pack. They came with a Skyhawk and a Fang painted in these colors for the Dreadnoughts. I never see those anywhere. If I do see them, it's usually just the main fuselage. So I will probably never find one of those. And the next one is the Japanese version, the little Harry, and then the Brazilian version, the Jet Nave. Again, I don't ever see this come up anywhere on auction. So those, like I said, those may not be some variants I'll be able to get a hold of, but I am going to talk about them in the document. So with that said, this is launching. This is the first video in the Skyhawk Project series. As I go through this process, I'll document finding the figure, the toy. Right now, I've got a good lead on at a good price of getting the Arctic version that came from the 50th anniversary 2-pack with the Ice Wolf. So that one I think is going to be fairly easy attainable one. It's just right now trying to get a hold of those 3 examples, the 2 convention exclusive Steel Brigades, and the first quote unquote Ghosthawk that came with a lift ticket in the clear boxes. I can't remember what that line was called, but the All Striker was in that line, and a few others as well. And then of course you have the international and the Dreadnought versions. I'm not too concerned about because I know I'll probably never be able to find a decent example of those. And then also too, I want to get another good example of the original Skyhawk, because I'd like to do that with the Canadian stickers on it. The imports to Canada was very, very popular, and sometimes you can get those as well as some of the international versions. But then also too, and I maybe get one where I get it piece by piece to make it. I got an idea for a repaint of it. It's kind of interesting and unusual that I might want to add to the lore in the end. So I hope you guys enjoy this journey with me. Like, I'm really excited about this project. It's one of these things it's going to take a while to do, and I want to document that process. I think it's pretty cool to focus on one toy and do that, and then at the end of it, there may be another mini vehicle that has enough variants to do a similar thing to that I may be able to define. So I hope you at least come along with me on this journey. Keep updating it This will be in its own separate playlist on my channel. If you have any leads to those three that I know that's going to be hard to find, let me know and we'll work something out. Like I said, I'm not, I know I'm never going to pay the $4 that Rivers guy was, but I think we can work something out, and I would just love to be able to collect that as well. So with that, everybody have a great day, and enjoy the journey with me.